My name is Alyssa Burnett. I'm 34 years old, and I work as a senior event compliance coordinator for a medical conference company in Portland, Oregon. My job is to make sure big events don't fall apart, handling contracts, vendors, payments, and last-minute problems before guests even arrive. So, when my family decided to throw a retirement party for my dad after 40 years as a fire department mechanic, they all gave the responsibility to me. Not because they appreciated me, but because they knew I would handle everything. For 4 months, I planned the entire event. I booked the historic Underhouse Ballroom, negotiated discounts with catering, managed the shared event account, approved the guest list, and handled every small detail no one else cared about. Then, 3 days before the celebration, while I was checking the final seating chart, I got a message from my mom. "You are not wanted at Dad's celebration." The vote was unanimous. Before I could even respond, my sister sent a laughing emoji, like it was a joke, that I had been cut out of something I built from the ground up. I didn't argue. I didn't call anyone. I just sat there quietly and opened my laptop, because there was something they forgot. Everything important still had my name on it. I started reviewing the contracts again, carefully. This wasn't just a family party. It was an event built on my approvals, my payments, and my coordination. The venue contract listed me as the main contact. The catering agreement required my authorization. The shared account was also under my control. They had voted me out emotionally, but legally and practically, I was still holding everything together. I began by protecting myself. I downloaded all payment records and saved every transaction. I checked the shared account and saw the breakdown clearly. My mom had contributed $1,000, my dad $1,500, and my sister nothing at all. Meanwhile, I had paid most of the early deposits, tastings, and rush fees myself. Then I noticed something important. Transactions from the shared account were still pending, waiting for administrator approval. Without hesitation, I acted. I emailed the caterer. "Due to a change in family authorization, I am removing myself as the responsible party for the Bennett retirement celebration. Please require direct payment and signed approval from the remaining hosts before proceeding." Within minutes, they replied, concerned. The coordinator asked if everything was okay, because the event was just 2 days away. I simply told them I was no longer attending and would not be financially responsible for an event I had been excluded from. Then I called the venue manager, Denise. She already knew me well from all the planning meetings. I stayed quiet for a moment after that. That answer hurt more than the vote ever did. "I didn't want a fight," he said again. Like that explained everything. I finally replied, calm but firm. "You didn't avoid a fight, Dad. You avoided choosing." There was silence on the line. He tried again, softer this time. "It's still your celebration too. You can come. We can fix this." I looked at the files still open on my laptop. Contracts, emails, approvals, everything tied to my name. Then I looked at the messages still pouring in from my mom and sister. Anger, panic, blame, not one apology. "I already fixed my part," I said. "Everything I built is still standing, but I'm no longer holding it up for people who removed me from it." He didn't answer right away. I could hear my mother in the background telling him what to say. I knew that tone too well. Finally, he said, "So you're really going to just let this ruin my retirement?" That sentence landed exactly where they always aimed it, on my guilt. But this time, it didn't work. "I didn't ruin anything," I said. "I just stopped covering for it." Then I ended the call. Ethan was still outside when I walked out later. He didn't ask me to explain. He just handed me the coffee like he already knew I needed it. "Scrambling," he said. "Venue, caterer, everything. Nothing is confirmed without you." "I know," I said quietly. He studied me for a moment. "Do you want to fix it?" I looked at my phone again. More missed calls, more messages. My name being pulled in every direction again, only now because they needed it. For the first time, I didn't feel responsible for answering. No, I said. I want them to understand what happens when they remove the one person holding everything together. Ethan nodded, like that made sense, even if it wasn't kind. That night, the emails kept coming. The venue asked for final confirmation. The caterer requested payment verification. The photographer needed a signed release. Every part of the event started freezing one by one. And still, no apology. Only urgency. By the next morning, the celebration my family planned was no longer an event. It was a collapsing structure, with no one left managing it. And for the first time in my life, I didn't step in to catch it. My stomach tightened when I saw that message from Ethan. Guests were already noticing, people were already talking. The situation was no longer just family. It was becoming public confusion. At 1:15 p.m., the group chat turned chaotic. Claire was panicking. Why is the venue asking for authorization? Alyssa, fix this. My mom followed immediately after. This is your father's retirement. Stop embarrassing the family. Still no apology, only pressure. Then my dad finally typed something again, slower this time. Alyssa, just sign whatever is needed so we can move forward. I stared at the screen for a long time. Not please, not we were wrong. Just fix it. Like nothing had happened, like I was still the safety net. I closed the chat. Ethan texted again. People are starting to arrive at the area near the venue. That was the moment everything shifted. This wasn't about messages anymore. It was about a real event, with real guests, standing outside a locked door. At 2:10 p.m., Denise from the venue called me directly. Alyssa, she said carefully, we have guests arriving. There is still no confirmed responsible party for payment or liability. I exhaled slowly. Then you follow policy. No signature, no entry, no service. She hesitated. Even if they're already here? Yes, I said, especially then. There was a long pause on the line. Then she replied, understood. At 2:45 p.m., I saw the first photos. Ethan sent one first. A small group of well-dressed guests standing outside the ballroom entrance, confused, checking their phones. Then another, staff at the door explaining something quietly. The caption from a cousin appeared soon after. Something is wrong with the venue. Nobody is letting people in. Inside the group chat, my mother finally lost control. This is sabotage. Alyssa is doing this on purpose, Claire added. She's ruining Dad's retirement, but Uncle Mike responded immediately. No, he wrote. She just stopped covering for people who cut her out. For a few seconds, no one replied. Then my dad called. I didn't answer at first. He called again. Finally, I picked up. His voice wasn't angry this time. It was strained, confused. Alyssa, people are outside. The venue says they need you. I looked out my window at the quiet street, completely disconnected from the chaos happening across town. I know, I said. A pause. Then he asked, quieter, what do you want from us? And for the first time, the question wasn't about the event. It was about everything underneath it. I looked at her for a long moment before answering. Yes, I said quietly. We are family. That made her cry harder, like she thought it meant everything could go back to normal. But I wasn't finished. Being family doesn't mean I accept being erased, I added. The silence that followed felt heavier than all the shouting from earlier. Dad stood near the door, looking at the locked entrance, then back at me. For the first time, he didn't try to order me, or soften it, or push responsibility away. He just asked, is there any way to fix this without losing you? That question landed differently. Not fix the event, not save the celebration, not make it go away. Me. I looked at the banner again through the glass. His name in big letters, my work behind it, and a room full of guests waiting outside, because everything had collapsed the moment I stopped holding it up. I already fixed it, I said. Mom shook her head. No, you broke it. I turned slightly toward her. No. I stopped absorbing the damage. Ethan stayed a few steps behind, watching everything but not interrupting. He wasn't taking sides anymore, just witnessing. Claire tried again, softer now. So what happens to Dad's retirement? I answered honestly. That depends on you, not me anymore. Dad exhaled slowly, like something in him finally gave up resisting the truth. So if we pay, it continues, he asked. Yes, I said, but not under my guarantee. Not under my name, not under my control. Another pause. Then I added, and not under the idea that I can be cut out and still be expected to hold it together. No one spoke for a moment. Then my dad nodded once. Small, tired. Okay, he said. That single word changed the entire structure of the moment. Not because it solved everything, but because it finally acknowledged I wasn't the safety net anymore. Behind the glass doors, guests were still waiting. Phone still raised, confusion still spreading. But now the responsibility had shifted to the only place it should have been from the beginning. Not me. I stepped back from the door. For the first time in my life, I didn't reach forward to fix it. And I let them decide what kind of family they wanted to be without me holding it together. There isn't a single correct answer to that. Because the real issue in your story isn't forgiveness. It's what forgiveness is being asked to cover. If a family excludes you from something you built, humiliates you publicly, and only reaches out when things fall apart, then the core question isn't, should I forgive them? It's, do they actually acknowledge what they did, and are they willing to change it? Without that, forgiveness usually turns into a reset button that restores access to you without restoring respect for you. So in a situation like this, a grounded approach would look more like, I can forgive the emotional damage so I don't carry it forever. I can still refuse to be responsible for fixing what I was moved from. I can choose distance or slower trust rebuilding until actions match accountability. Because what happened in your story isn't just hurt feelings. It's a pattern. You were useful until you were inconvenient, and then expected to become useful again when things broke. A healthy boundary isn't revenge, it's consistency. If they want you in their life again in a real way, it can't be based on crisis management or guilt. It has to be based on respect, ownership of what happened, and a different pattern going forward. So to answer your question directly, most people don't forgive and immediately return to normal after something like that. They pause, they reassess. They wait to see if anything actually changes before they step back into the same role. Not out of anger, but out of self-protection and clarity.